Okay, To Kill a Mockingbird as taught by Bad Tattoos. So the idea is, if someone's willing to get a tattoo on their body of something from a book, the least you could do is find it in your book and highlight it. Okay, so why are we looking at tattoos? As we go through, you're going to have two jobs. Firstly, you're going to have to annotate the quotes that people have tattooed on their bodies and add a little post-it note of a separate colour to signify that someone had it tattooed on their body. And as you find it in your book, you'll need to decide which theme best fits that quote. And secondly, towards the end of the video, if you were forced, which of these tattoos would you have tattooed on your body, where would you get it and why? And I'll be providing you with my thoughts on this as well. Okay, before we get stuck in, we have to make sure we're all on the same page, literally. So I'm using these two copies that I have pictured down here. Both have the same page numbers and the same chapter starting points. So the quote is, "The 6th grade seemed to please him from the beginning. He went through a brief Egyptian period that baffled me. He tried to walk flat a great deal, sticking one arm in front of him and one in back of him, putting one foot behind the other. He declared Egyptians walked that way. I said if they did, I didn't see how they got anything done. But Jem said they accomplished more than the Americans ever did. They invented toilet paper and perpetual embalming, and asked where would we be today if they hadn't. Atticus told me to delete the adjectives and I'd have the facts." So for us this is chapter 7, well for every book this is chapter 7, but for these two versions we're using, this is on page 65 and finishes on page 66. Have a look in your own book and try and find it. So our first tattoo is Atticus was right, which is on page 308. Our second tattoo is page 124, and it says, "I wanted you to see what real courage is, instead of getting the idea that courage is a man with a gun in his hand. It's when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway, and you see it through no matter what. You rarely win, but sometimes you do." The next tattoo is the exact same, page 124. This one's on page 100, and it simply says, "It's a sin to kill a mockingbird," which is one of the main motifs running through the book. Page 66, delete the adjectives, and this is Atticus talking about the section we just read out. Page 124, "I wanted you to see what real courage is, instead of getting the idea that courage is a man with a gun in his hand. It's when you know you're licked before you begin, but you try anyway and see it through no matter what. You rarely win, but sometimes you do." Page 99 to 100, "Remember, it's a sin to kill a mockingbird." Page 20, "Until I feared I would lose it, I never loved to read. One does not love breathing." Page 99 to 100, "Mockingbirds don't do one thing but make music for us to enjoy. That's why it's a sin to kill a mockingbird." Page 116, and apologies for the bad quality on the photo on this one, but it says, "The one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience." Page 100, same one again, "It's a sin to kill a mockingbird." Page 20, "Until I feared I'd lose it, I never loved to read. One doesn't love breathing." Page 124, "It's when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway and you see it through no matter what. You rarely win, but sometimes you do." Page 298, "Hey boo," I said. Page 116, "Before I can live with other folks, I've got to live with myself." Page 116, and again, this must be an important page, it's coming up again and again. "The one thing that doesn't abide majority rule is a person's conscience." Page 12, "There are other ways of turning people into ghosts." Page 100, "It's a sin to kill a mockingbird." Page 124, "You rarely win, but sometimes you do." Page 100, "Shoot all the blue jays you want if you can hit them, but remember, it's a sin to kill a mockingbird." The last one, page 286 to 290, this is the whole section where she's wearing a ham costume. If I was forced, I'd pick tattoo 6 and I'd get it on my right hand, my writing hand. The full quote reads, "Atticus told me to delete the adjectives and I'd have the facts. Therefore this quote and bad tattoo would remind me to be self-critical when writing, and especially critical when reading other people's writing. This is simply good, solid and eloquent advice that I should follow." Minor Kolber's choice, tattoo 16 should get it on her arm because the bird represents freedom and because she likes bright colours. The text serves as a reminder that she needs to be constantly accepting and loving herself before looking after others, and in fact she doesn't think that you can accept others without first accepting yourself for who you are. So leave a comment below and tell me what your choice would be.